You will go to Abuja, Chidi. You will walk among the children of ministers. You will carry our family name out of this mud.
Every naira they sent was supposed to build her future, but it was feeding a lie that would destroy the whole family. The rain over Enugu did not fall. It commanded. The rain beat hard on the zinc roof, but inside the small house, the silence felt louder. On the center table sat a single, neatly folded stack of naira notes, the absolute last of Julius's retirement gratuity. Beside it lay 2 admission letters. One was printed on heavy cream paper, bearing the crest of a prestigious private university in the capital. The other was a photocopied sheet from a struggling local polytechnic down the road. Julius, his hands hardened by 30 years of civil service, pushed the stack of money toward his younger daughter, Chidi. She was 19, radiant, and wore her ambition like an expensive perfume.
You will go to Abuja, Chidi. You will walk among the children of ministers. You will carry our family name out of this mud.
In the shadow of the kitchen doorway stood his eldest daughter, Amara. She was 21, her hands smelling of the kerosene she had just poured into the stove to cook the family's meager dinner. She looked at her father, then at her mother, Mercy, whose eyes were fixed firmly on the floor.
And me, Papa, the local polytechnic fee is a quarter of that amount. There is enough for both of us if...
If what? If we split it and both of you end up average? No, one tree must grow tall enough to catch the sun so it can shelter the rest of the forest. Your sister has the brilliant mind. You, Amara, you are resilient. You will manage here. Support your sister.
3 years passed like a slow bleeding wound. For Amara, life became a grueling cycle of survival. The local polytechnic was a crumbling institution of strikes and overcrowded lecture halls. To pay her tuition, she did not ask her parents for a single kobo. She knew the answer before the question left her mouth. Instead, she woke up at 4 a.m. every morning to bake chin-chin and meat pies, hawking them to students and shopkeepers before her 8 a.m. classes. Her hands became calloused, her face lined with fatigue too heavy for a girl in her early 20s. Meanwhile, the bungalow in Enugu became a shrine to Chidi. Every phone call from Abuja was an emergency that required immediate financial intervention. Papa, the textbook for international law is 50,000 naira. Mama, my laptop crashed. I cannot sit for exams without it. Papa, the hostel fee has doubled due to security. Julius and Mercy starved themselves to feed Chidi's lifestyle. They discontinued their medications, sold the small plot of land Julius had inherited in the village. We are investing in a diamond, Julius would tell the neighbors proudly, ignoring Amara as she walked past them. When Chidi graduates, our suffering ends. Amara would lie awake at night in the room they used to share, listening to her parents whisper in the next room about how much money they needed to send Chidi next Tuesday. Amara realized a bitter truth. To her parents, she wasn't the reliable eldest daughter. She was simply the invisible one. It was a Friday evening when the latest frantic call came. Julius's phone rang on the wooden dining table, its screen cracked and held together by tape. He answered on the first ring, putting it on speaker so Mercy could hear.
Papa, good evening. Papa, you have to help me. The school security, they are threatening to evict me from the private lodge. My roommate moved out without paying her half, and the landlord is ruthless. He gave me 48 hours.
Chidi, my child, calm down. How much is it?
150,000, Papa. If I get thrown out, I won't be able to focus on my final project. I might carry over the semester.
God forbid. Carry over after all we have paid. Oh, Julius, we must find it. We cannot let her foundation shake now. Papa, you just sent her 80,000 last week for project materials. Where is that money?
Keep quiet. What do you know about university life in the capital? You think Abuja is like this glorified secondary school you attend here? Your sister is dealing with high society pressures. Instead of you to offer solutions, you are pouring salt on our wounds because of jealousy.
Amara stood up, her chest heaving. She didn't say another word. She walked out into the night air, leaving them to figure out how to bleed for a daughter who never seemed to have enough. The next morning, Julius did the unthinkable. He walked into the shop of Chief Nnamdi, a notorious local moneylender feared throughout the community for his ruthless collection methods and crippling interest rates. Desperate to secure the money Chidi needed to complete her final year at university, Julius begged for another loan despite still owing interest on a previous one. Chief Nnamdi listened patiently before placing a document on the desk. The terms were harsh. If Julius failed to repay the full amount along with an additional 50% interest within 3 months, ownership of his bungalow would be transferred to the moneylender. Julius stared at the document in silence. The bungalow was the only reward for 30 decades of exhausting labor. It sheltered his wife and represented the family's only real security. Yet, as he thought of Chidi struggling alone in Abuja, with her future hanging in balance, the choice became painfully clear. With trembling hands, he picked up the pen and signed the agreement, sacrificing everything he had worked for in the hope of securing his daughter's future. Later that day, he returned home and handed the money to Mercy to deposit into Chidi's account. From the kitchen window, Amara watched quietly. She had seen her father leave Nnamdi's compound earlier and understood exactly what he had done. A heavy sense of dread settled deep within her. The family's future now rested on a fragile foundation, and she could already sense the storm approaching.
A month later, fear and worry filled the house in Enugu. Julius was growing weaker every day. His eyes were red, his hands shook, and he spent hours staring at the calendar as the loan deadline came closer. Chidi called less often now. When she did, she always seemed busy and usually asked for more money for new school fees and expenses. Mercy began to feel that something was wrong. One day, she noticed loud music in the background during a call, even though Chidi claimed she was studying in the library. The feeling of worry would not leave her. Unable to ignore her fears, Mercy decided they should visit Chidi without telling her. Julius agreed, even though money was tight. They planned to take an early bus to Abuja on Monday. From the hallway, Amara overheard everything. She stayed silent. For years, no one had listened to her warnings. Now, she knew the truth would soon reveal itself. The journey from Enugu to Abuja took 8 long hours of quiet and discomfort. Julius and Mercy sat in a cramped bus that shook hard on the road. Mercy carried a small bag of dried fish and spices as a gift for Chidi, whom they had not seen in over a year. When they arrived at the bus park, their legs were stiff and sore. They took a taxi using their last bit of emergency money to reach where Chidi was staying. As they entered the area, Julius looked around at big houses and neat streets and felt proud, believing his sacrifice had brought his daughter to a better life.
Yes, this is where my blood belongs. I knew my daughter cannot disappoint me. We are almost there.
But when they reached the exact address, the taxi driver became confused, saying it did not look like a student lodge, but a place for wealthy people. Julius insisted it was the correct address and stepped out of the car.
Papa, you sure say na here? This no be student lodge, oh. This na residential flat for big men.
The building was a modern 2-storied apartment with tinted glass windows, a high wall, and electric fencing. It looked nothing like a student lodge. There were no signs of shared rooms or student life. Julius and Mercy approached the gate and spoke to the security guard, asking for their daughter, who they believed lived in flat 3B.
Good afternoon, my son. We are looking for Chidi. She lives here. Room 3B. Chidi, the one driving the small red Kia.
No, our daughter doesn't have a car. She is a student.
Let me check the logbook. Yes, flat 3B, Madam Chidi. But she doesn't live alone. She lives with her husband.
With heavy hearts, they climbed the stairs slowly. Mercy cried quietly as she carried the small gift bag. Julius's hands shook as they reached the door of flat 3B, preparing to knock. Julius did not knock. He banged on the door repeatedly until it opened. A strong smell of expensive air freshener and smoke filled the air as the door swung open. Standing there was Chidi. She was no longer dressed like a student. She wore a silk robe with neat, expensive hair and heavy makeup. The moment she saw her parents, all color left her face in shock. She tried to step back and close the door, but Julius pushed his way inside. The apartment was large and very luxurious, with big screens and expensive furniture, but none of that mattered. Mercy suddenly screamed and dropped her bag when she looked at Chidi more closely. Under the bright light, it became clear that Chidi was heavily pregnant, far along in her pregnancy.
What is the meaning of this, Chidi? What is this?
Papa, I can explain.
Before Chidi could explain anything, a young man walked out from the hallway. He was well-dressed and holding a game controller.
Babe, who is shouting at the door?
Tariq, go inside, please. Go to the bedroom.
Oh, so this is the landlord. This is the landlord who wanted to evict you. This is the international law project you have been working on.
Papa, please, let me explain. Papa, please, let me explain. You lied to us. We sold our lands. We didn't eat. Your father took a loan from Nnamdi. We gave you everything. We starved Amara to feed you. And this is what you were doing.
In her pain, she asked how all of it could have led to what they were now seeing. Tariq did not leave for the bedroom. He stayed in the hallway, leaning against the wall with a cold, careless expression. Instead of shame, he showed a mocking smile as he looked at the broken family in front of him. He spoke with calm arrogance.
Wait, Chidi, are these the parents from the village you always talk about? The ones you said were rich cocoa merchants who send you allowance from their estate? Who are you? What have you done to my daughter? Me? I didn't do anything to her, old man. Your daughter came to me. She wanted to roll with the big boys in Abuja. She is the one who rents this apartment. She is the one who bought my car. She told me her family has money flowing like water. I didn't force her to give me a dime. She brought it willingly so I would stay with her.
Chidi, shocked and broken, tried to defend herself.
Tariq, how can you say that? I love you. I gave you everything because you said we were going to build a life together. You said you needed the money for your business clearance.
Business clearance? Baby, I told you what you wanted to hear to keep the cash flowing. If I knew your parents were local villagers who had to borrow money just to buy you a wig, I would have left you a long time ago. Look at them. They look like they belong in a charity home.
The words pierced through Chidi like a physical bleed. She looked at Tariq, the man she had practically worshipped, the man she had sacrificed her family's entire future for, and saw him for exactly what he was, a parasite.
You never loved me. Every time you cried that you were in trouble, every time you complained that you needed money to keep up with your friends and your lifestyle. I went to my parents, I lied to them, I told them the school was demanding money. I watched my father grow old over the phone just to give you what you wanted.
And that was your choice, Tariq said coldly. Nobody forced your hand.
If you people are done with your family reunion, I suggest you take your noise outside. The neighbors are complaining.
Julius stood in the center of the room, his chest heaving. The sheer magnitude of the betrayal was suffocating. Every text message, every tearful phone call from his golden child had been a script written to extract the life savings of an old man to fund the lifestyle of a city hustler. He looked at Chidi, who was now curled on the floor, weeping hysterically. The brilliant daughter, the future of the family, was nothing but an empty vessel of vanity.
Get up, pack whatever rags you have and let us go. This house is not yours. This life is not yours. You are coming back to Enugu.
To Enugu? Tariq chimed in from the kitchen. Yeah,
Please take her. The rent on this place expires next week anyway. And since the ATM has officially run dry, I've already found another girl who actually has real money. Chidi screamed, a sound of pure, unadulterated heartbreak, and lunged toward Tariq, but her heavy stomach caused her to slip and fall hard onto the tiled floor. Mercy rushed to her side, her maternal instinct overriding her anger for a brief second as she helped her daughter up. They left their estate few minutes later. Chidi carried only a single suitcase. As they stepped out of the estate gate and into the scorching Abuja sun to find the commercial bus back to Enugu, Julius's phone rang. The screen displayed the name, Chief Nnamdi. Julius didn't answer. He knew why the moneylender was calling. The 3 months were up, the bungalow was gone. The return to Enugu was a funeral procession without a corpse. When they finally arrived at the bungalow late Tuesday evening, they didn't find a peaceful home. Sitting on the veranda was Chief Nnamdi, accompanied by 2 heavily built men and a padlock the size of a man's fist. Julius's meager belongings were already piled ruthlessly in the dusty front yard. Amara stood by the gate, her arms crossed, watching the moneylenders. She didn't look surprised. "Julius, you are back," Chief Nnamdi called out, stepping down from the veranda with a grin.
Julius, you are back. I called you several times, you didn't pick up. The deadline was 12 noon today. The house belongs to me now. Pack your things and leave the compound.
He fell to his knees in the dirt, his hands raised in supplication. He pleaded for mercy, explaining that his daughter was pregnant and that the family had nowhere else to go. Nnamdi didn't even look at Julius. His eyes traveled to Chidi, who was standing behind her mother, trying to hide her swollen belly.
So this is the investment? This is the oil company graduate? It looks like the investment has yielded an unexpected interest, Julius.
The humiliation was complete. Julius wept openly. Mercy collapsed beside him, her spirit completely broken. Chidi stood frozen, the weight of her vanity crushing her into the earth. Then Amara stepped forward. She walked past her weeping parent, past her broken sister, and stood directly in front of Chief Nnamdi. She pulled a small worn leather pouch from her school bag and unzipped it. Inside was a thick, neatly bound stack of papers and a banknote. "What is this?" Nnamdi asked.
This is the full principal loan amount, plus the 50% interest.
Julius looked up, his eyes wide. "Amara, where did you get such money?" Amara didn't look at her father. She kept her eyes on Nnamdi.
While you were sending millions to Abuja to buy champagne and silk robes, I was using my chin-chin business profits to invest in a small catering cooperative. 6 months ago, we won the contract to supply food to the entire state polytechnic and the local government secretariat. I have been working 20 hours a day. I didn't buy wigs. I didn't buy cars. I saved every single kobo to buy this land from you before you could officially register the seizure.
Nnamdi inspected the bank draft, his face darkening as he realized he had been beaten at his own game by a 24-year-old girl. He signaled his men. "Unlock the door. Let's go." "Amara," Julius sobbed, reaching his trembling hands out to her. Amara stepped back, avoiding his embrace. Her expression was not of anger, but of a quiet, unyielding sorrow.
Amara, my daughter, please forgive me. I was blind. I was so blind. Please forgive me, my child, please.
I forgive you, Papa, but things will never be the same in this house, and the house is mine now. The papers are in my name. You will all live here, and I will take care of you, because that is what an eldest daughter does.
She walked toward the veranda, but paused at the door, turning back to look at her family one last time.
You spent everything you had trying to force a wild thorn to produce mangoes, and all the while you trampled on the soil where the real harvest was already growing. Nature does not lie, Papa. A man will always reap exactly what he sows.
She stepped inside the house and closed the door, leaving them outside in the twilight to begin the long, painful process of gathering the bitter pieces of their harvest.
Thank you so much for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe. Who do you think was most responsible for this family's downfall? Julius, Mercy, Chidi, or Tariq? Explain your answer in the comments. And never forget, the child you neglect today may become the one who saves you tomorrow.